using producer terms. Cue me in. Hey everybody, we just got cued in. We're becoming a regular show here.
We
How
are.
about that?
We're regular.
How about that? Welcome to a delayed version of Uniquely Lutheran. So first of all, want to say I am Al, and obviously yesterday, if you did tune in at all, Jeff said he told you he was the loneliest guy here because I wasn't here.
I was very lonely, but that's okay.
Well,
I wasn't. Amy was helping.
Amy was helping
pretty
well,
much.
My thanks to producer Amy, who I know messed up her day today, and also to you, Jeff, for kind of covering this guy who was supposed to have a 7:45 a.m. flight back to Sarasota from Atlanta, Georgia, of which that flight got delayed, then it got canceled, and then I didn't end up getting on a flight until actually about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So spent a whole lot more time in the nicely masked show. I'm now back to used to wearing my mask. The nicely masked Atlanta International Airport, which is a gigantor, and getting more giant airport. So 6-7 hours in the Atlanta airport, and you got plenty to do, plenty to see. So, but I did make it back. Thank you very much for indulging me on that part of it, and we can muster on years about airport stories. We're not going to do that. What we're going to do is I'm going to give Pastor Jeff some questions, but before all that, we'll open with a prayer.
Thank you, Al. Gracious and heavenly Lord, we are in a new season right now, and we pray, Lord, that you strengthen us as we grow closer to you, as we prepare our hearts for the coming of Jesus, and also get ready for Christmas. Let us not lose sight of why we celebrate Advent and why it makes Christmas that much more blessed when we do. Equip us and guide us and lead us and direct us as you always do, and God's blessings to all for safe arrivals from their destinations for Thanksgiving or from their airports. And we ask that you may bless this time you've given us in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. And speaking of that, this is our first show since Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I hope everybody had a good one. Certainly did.
Yeah, I did a little too much. A little bit too much.
Overindulged the Thanksgiving.
Just a little bit. There were some casseroles I missed, and I had to go up for seconds.
Well, that's okay.
That was my mistake, and I paid for it.
Well,
but I'm paying for it.
That's Thanksgiving, and we'll all be back on the trail probably sometime after Christmas, because that's the traditional time that suddenly everybody gets disciplined again until the Easter candy comes out, and then we start this whole cycle all over again.
Sure.
But thank you for indulging us a day. And let me tell you where I've been. I have been working up in Atlanta and some areas around Atlanta with a comedy club called The Punchline. The only reason I say that is that we have an upcoming comedy show here at New Life Lutheran on December the 12th. We have a new time start, so any of you out there that's been watching it, we've gone anywhere from 4 o'clock to 5:30, but we've come in an official time, and it will start at 6 p.m. on December the 12th. So thank you, Amy, for making all the corrections and getting that out for the people, and we really appreciate that, and you're going to be hearing about that for the next couple of weeks, as we really want to get a great turnout. And the reason I say that comes from something that happened to me over the weekend. I had a area that's close by Atlanta in the state of Alabama called Jacksonville, Alabama. Have some very close friends, as much as you can say they're friends and family. He was my big brother as I was growing up in the Big Brothers program, and visiting with them, and they are pretty steady Methodists. They're just cool. All right.
Yeah,
but
they're uniquely Methodist.
They're uniquely Methodist. Well, the Methodist pastor there and the Lutheran pastor in Jacksonville, Alabama, have a great friendship. And they apparently kind of hang out and do their thing. And they came up with this idea of, I'll preach at your church and you preach at my church. So that is a neat thing in and of itself. And Ken, my big brother, said that the Lutheran pastor was great. He fully enjoyed his message, but his entire message was on Advent, because this past Sunday was the beginning of Advent, and the Methodist Church had already brought out all their festive decorations, dare I say Christmas, but one of the things that was out there was a manger scene, mm-hmm. and in that manger was a baby Jesus. And what the Lutheran pastor pointed out was that in their look and response and everything like that, that manger basket should be empty. And the cute thing about it at the end of the service is that once the Methodist pastor heard his sermon and everything, because they had different times, so they were going together over to the Lutheran church after the Methodist church, is that he snuck on over by the altar where the manger scene was, and he quickly picked up the baby Jesus and put him back, and put him back in the closet. So Jeff, why don't you give us that the 411, as the kids like to say, of why in the Lutheran church we would not see, or technically would not see, the baby Jesus before Christmas.
We had an Advent creche in one of the churches that I served, and it was a beautiful one with almost scale size Mary and Joseph and wise men and shepherds and sheep even. And we didn't bring Jesus out until Christmas Eve. And that was the big deal. It was like they saw Jesus. And we kept it empty. So that's a tradition that's been, that alone is neat. And I think that's it's sort of like we're saving something special for a special time. But the celebration of Christmas during Advent is an issue that is hotly debated to this very day. You will have a wide variety of opinions. Pretty much anybody who teaches worship is going to tell you, and I said this on Sunday, that the liturgical purists will say Advent should be Advent and Christmas is Christmas, never the twain shall meet. And I said to our friends on church, have you been to the mall lately? The twain have met.
Well,
the twain have met.
Well, my thing is that I look at it, because as being a civilian, I look at it in a color scheme. Now, the color of Advent is blue.
Yep.
And then obviously you go to like green and red for Christmas, and somehow you merge into. So what you're saying right now is we should be blue. Why does the Lutheran Church look at Advent maybe a little bit differently than a lot of our friends and other?
And not to correct you or anything, the color of poinsettias, green and red, the colors that are unofficially the commercial colors of Christmas.
Right.
Our liturgical color for Christmas is white.
Really?
Yep. So the interesting thing I heard in Europe and Germany in particular, while we get our poinsettias out, they get out white roses. That's kind of their flower of the choice. So poinsettias, so much of our culture has influenced how we approach Christmas. It's kind of hard to know where it all began. And
well, technically, what is the story of Advent? Also, the one thing as a civilian I've always heard is in the quote-unquote church calendar that maybe nobody except me and people in the church pay attention to, is that Advent is actually the new year.
It is. Yep.
So give us how does that work? I mean, what's the thought process behind all of that?
Advent is when we start a whole new cycle where the only thing that really impacts us on that is the readings we read on Sunday mornings. So now that we are in the month, or in a new year, last year was the year of Mark. This year will be the year of Luke. So our gospel readings will change a little bit. So it's more of a liturgical new year than anything. Blue is the color of the sky. Advent corresponds with the winter solstice. The sky being blue, people seeing the days getting shorter and shorter and shorter. Even in Florida, the days are getting shorter.
Oh, yeah, of course.
If you lived up north where I was, it's dark at 4 o'clock in the afternoon around Christmas. So, and if you live in Alaska, it's just dark. It's just
dark,
plain
yeah.
dark. So, there's that culture again, that little culture. How does it affect how we approach Advent? And people have been worried every time the solstice came for thousands of years, and it just kind of got incorporated into our understanding that the month of December is here, the color is blue, we're looking for the sun to come out again in the spring in its full beauty and splendor. But not to get too sidetracked on just that phenomenon,
Right.
I don't have to even go as far as liturgy as much as I do even literature, where you read books written in the 1800s where people are celebrating Christmas. And how do they celebrate Christmas Eve? On the day of, they go out and they cut a Christmas tree, they put it up, and they decorate it.
Okay, well, that, which then was going to lead me to my next question. Yeah,
That Christmas actually begins on Christmas.
Okay, so
That's not even liturgical. That was part of the culture.
So when did everybody decide that you needed to put your Christmas tree? Like right now, we're in the peak height of Christmas tree sales, and they're lighting the Christmas tree tonight at Rockefeller Center and everything like that. Tell me, what would you do differently if you ran the show in your order of things, and how you feel like biblically and God sees what would we be doing? Do we still have blank? Is it just a blank altar? Is it a blank space, or is there something that we do that is enlightening the preparation? Or
Well, what we can do is we can say we actually have I actually served in a church where Advent was Advent and Christmas was Christmas. Although we did start bringing out some decorations, but what we didn't bring out were hymns or carols. We didn't bring out the carols until Christmas. So there are a whole set of songs that are Advent related.
O come, Emmanuel.
O come, Emmanuel. And Wake Awake, the night is falling. So I just told you both of them.
Well, I mean,
not a lot. There are a few of them.
I just remember that from being a kid.
Right.
And
that's a beautiful one, too.
Yeah, and we would sing that as an acolyte, would light the Advent wreath there was a part of the service in the old Lutheran service where there was actual service, and you would light the next candle, and you would sing, O come, Emmanuel.
One of the traditions, and this is a very old tradition, we're going back, is that Advent was a penitential time. Advent was a time of fasting, not feasting. It was a time of prayer, not shopping. And in those moments, Advent was even longer. That it was a 40-day period going back to November 15th.
Wow!
And yeah, St. Martin of Tours Day, which happens to coincide with Martin Luther's birthday. They landed about the same time. People would start celebrating Advent and treat it like we treat Lent, really. Not to be depressing, but more of a contemplative time. And that's not quite where we are culturally. And there's always been that struggle. That's, like, for instance, have you ever heard of Franksgiving?
No. Tell me.
Well, there was a time when President Roosevelt decided to move Thanksgiving to the third Thursday of November instead of the fourth, so there'd be one extra week of shopping.
Wow.
So we're kidding ourselves if we pretend that there isn't a commercial component to why everything's changing.
Okay, so
And that we run against that as a church. Advent in some ways is countercultural when you think about it.
Yeah, because my years of life has always been that I don't know, me as a person somehow is if you have your Christmas decorations up past say New Year's Day, you're I mean that was the old joke, because when are you gonna take them down? And now so many people have such elaborate decoration and things like that my contention is, why would you do that much work in order to take them down the day after New Year? I mean,
Right.
because we went once I got home last night, and our friends are from Alabama. In fact, Ken and Paul are here. We went out looking at Christmas displays in neighborhoods, and I went, these people had to put this up. It would take them months.
Yeah.
And then they're just going to pull them all. I mean, I just that much work. To do those things.
And you can be rest assured that when Laura Ingalls Wilder and Pa Ingalls went out and cut that Christmas tree on Christmas Eve, that they didn't take it down until January 6th, because there were the 12 days of Christmas. That you have the 12 days of Christmas. I don't know what's more challenging, the fact that we jumped the gun on Christmas or we quit so early.
Okay, so
I really think you should keep that tree up till January 6th. That's what I say. Just keep, or at least I say, if you need to take down Santa Claus, if you need to take down the elves, if you need to take down Rudolph, that's great. No problem. But leave your nativity set up and allow those 12 days to be focused on the birth of Christ. That's what I say.
So here's my question to you then. Why is it 12? Is there a biblical, and this may be me being so ignorant of the Bible, but is there such a biblical idea of 12 days? Because I thought the way it's described is that like the three kings didn't just show up that night. I mean, this was
They came
months.
on December 6th.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, they could have been months. We don't know. Well, for one thing, we don't know if Jesus was born in December. It could have been October. I mean, we celebrate his birthday in December. That much we do know. But that was a decision that was made by the church. So yeah, the wise men could have come months later.
So now is that
thing?
Okay? So you then, to me, you're describing three different items. So
Yep.
Advent is this time of preparation, which we've kind of turned also into celebration.
Right.
But then you have the Christmas season, which actually begins after, at midnight on Christmas Eve.
When the clock
essentially.
strikes, right, not 12:01
Yeah,
and not 11:59.
but when the clock strikes 12.
Right.
Okay, but then tell me about this Epiphany thing. Is that the formal ending of the Christmas season, technically, or how does that?
Well, because Epiphany's a season, I'll stick to Epiphany the day, and that's January 6th, which would be the day we celebrate when the wise men come to see Jesus. Most of our nativity sets are built where the wise men and the shepherds were tripping over each other in the manger at the same time. Well, the only thing I can say with almost 100% certainty, if not 100% certainty, they weren't in the manger at the same time.
Wow.
But in my nativity set at home, they are. Sure they are. Because it just kind of symbolizes, the wise men came because of a star, the shepherds came because of an angel. The shepherds are mentioned in Luke, the wise men are mentioned in Matthew, so we've taken Matthew and Luke and pushed them together and made this beautiful amalgam where we have stars and angels and wise men and shepherds and sheep and camels and and all in the same place.
Right.
It's pretty crowded. It's a pretty crowded place, and I saw the place where Jesus was born.
Really?
And I can assure you, I could barely fit in it.
So that was a big crowd.
It was a big crowd.
Sold out house.
It was, right. But symbolically, and symbolically amounts to something. That means something. I like a good old nativity set with the whole group of people, because what it represents is more than history. It represents something that's very significant.
All right, so as we wrap this up, and again, to me, you listeners out there, if you have anything, or watchers have anything you want me to ask Jeff, please tell me, because all I'm doing is trying to, I know what all my questions have been over the years, and just kind of that I've been trained into, it's just been, so let me ask you this. You have all these historical things and all of this knowledge. When does the gross family Christmas tree go up?
Well, we're doing some work in our house, but generally speaking, pretty quickly after Thanksgiving. But we get an artificial tree, or else our tree would be a cinder block by Christmas Eve. I don't know if you ever done that great experience where you have a Christmas tree you get in November and you get rid of it in December, and we had a fireplace and so we decided let's just burn it, and it was like and I was like, okay, I'm glad, yeah, okay, time to go artificial. That's so we're kind of behind a little bit, but I'm okay with that. When I was a kid, it was well into December.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It was well into December. It was at least the 15th. It was not the first week of December.
Yeah, I don't ever remember as a child that we put up a Christmas tree until now. For those of you wondering, I'm not saying this to send, well, sure, send me money if you'd like. My birthday, as we do this live, is tomorrow, which I turned 60 years old. And because I'm a December birthday, I remember that we had a gap. I had a birthday celebration, but there was a gap in our family before the quote-unquote Christmas stuff went up. And that was kind of my mom's edict, that wasn't gonna go immediately. Whereas I know now many people's celebration of Thanksgiving is literally to turn on the Christmas tree.
Yeah.
And
it's not as new of a phenomenon as we think it is. I mean, Santa Claus has been coming down at the end of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade for a long time now.
Right.
Ever since Miracle on 34th Street is as much of a Thanksgiving movie as it is a Christmas movie. And it's really interesting how I don't think we're ever going to be able to turn the clock back, Al. I think the best we can hope for is to figure out ways to be able to incorporate Advent probably above and beyond the holiday season, because I think the holiday season stands on its own as a commercial juggernaut, and we as Christians have to cope with that juggernaut. But what we're doing here at New Life, and I've done in churches in the past, is we have Advent worship services.
Right, I was just like,
and that gives the folks an opportunity to really experience Advent by itself. And there's components of Christmas in the sense that what we're doing, the Holden Evening Prayer, includes the Annunciation, the Magnificat, the story of Mary finding out that she's going to give birth to Jesus, and we celebrate that miracle during Advent, and that's really nice. And it's we did it first time last night, and our folks were real troopers, and because it's a different kind of a service, and I kind of sprung it on them, but I really think it makes Christmas that much more special. I really do.
I do too, and I'm really happy we invite you here. It starts at 6 p.m.
6:30.
6:30 p.m.
Yep.
On Tuesday nights.
On Tuesday nights, and so what we're also doing we had our Bible study last night. Long story short, I had to redo my whole schedule this week because of the holiday. So we did our Wednesday night Bible study on Tuesday. So we had 14 people in Bible study last night, which was huge. And they all said, hey, I like this, coming to church and going to Bible study afterwards. To which I said, okay, next week we'll do the same thing. So
wonderful. Well, there you see it. We see some changes, and I think that's a great Advent message, is that not only is it a reflective time, but it is also a time of new beginnings, and of this opportunity that was celebrating Jesus' birth as a new beginning.
Yep.
So this is kind of how do you want to say it? Our planning stages time of those new beginnings. So please stay with us each week. We will continue to talk more and more about this. I think this is a fascinating topic and a very informative one for me. And I'm only left with the image of the Methodist pastor at the end of the service sneaking out into their nativity and carrying the baby Jesus and putting him back in the storage closet until they bring him out on Christmas Eve.
That is wonderful.
Yeah, that is. So on behalf of Pastor Jeff Gross, I am Al Ernst, and we will see you next week on